Platemark is a podcast about prints and the printmaking ecosystem. In each episode, we'll hear from people who occupy various roles in the system. I'm your host, Anne Schaefer. I work to promote prints and printmaking through this pod, organizing fine art print fairs across the country, and also organizing exhibitions, albeit intermittently. The goal of the pod is to demystify the world of prints and printmaking, which can be a little challenging, and to demonstrate the range of opportunities to work in this charming corner of the art world, that you can be creative adjacent without being the artist yourself. This is a show that takes you behind the scenes to expose the generous, collaborative, and creative people working to better the world one print at a time. Today, I have two special guests, Miranda Metcalf and Tim Pauszek of Hello Print Friend. Now, if you've been following along, you'll be well aware that Hello Print Friend is our sister podcast, and that Miranda and I often collaborate on episodes and also on programming. Miranda and Tim moved to Chiang Mai, Thailand not too long ago, where they have established a new print shop and publishing program under the Hello Print Friend umbrella. If you've been following Miranda's career, you also know that in addition to Hello Print Friend, the podcast, that she has been producing short documentaries, has produced one on the printmaking ecosystem in Oaxaca, Mexico, and is currently working on one about Puerto Rico. Now she and Tim have moved to Chiang Mai. They have established Hello Print Friend Studios, where Tim is master printer. They specialize in lithography, although they do have an etching press and can print intaglio and relief prints there, although they don't have the setup to create etching plates. You'd have to bring yours. But they came on the show to tell us all about what they're doing, tell us about the incredible community they have found in Chiang Mai, led most by their friend, the artist Kitikong Tilokwattanotai, who, from the sounds of it, I would like to meet. But between him and other supporters, they have been able to open this shop, and they have the wherewithal to have an artist in residency program, and that's where you guys come in. They wanted to come on the pod to talk about it, to tell us about the publishing program and the artist in residency program at Hello Print Friend Studios, because you guys should go. It's a fun conversation. I think you'll appreciate their story about how they got to Thailand and how they managed to pull all of this together, which is so impressive to me. And I think you'll love the combo. Okay, housekeeping. I identify as a cis-het white woman, and I use the pronouns she, her. I record Platemark in Baltimore, Maryland, the land of the Piscataway Conoy people. Images that Miranda, Tim, and I talk about, they're not many, just of their shop really in Thailand, are over on platemarkpodcast.com. There's also, of course, that support and donate button you can hit and help me keep the lights on. I always appreciate you and your support. All right, let's get rolling. Miranda, Tim, how's it going?
It's good. Good to see you, Anne. We love seeing you in person, digitally, New York, all over. Baltimore.
I know.
All the good places.
I have to get to Chiang Mai. I know.
Indeed.
Chiang Mai.
It's really great here.
I have been watching you guys develop all of this stuff, and I couldn't resist the chance to ask you all about it. So, Miranda and Tim, thank you for coming on the show. And it is our great pleasure to talk to you about your newest venture, because it's so exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's sort of like, how far back do you start? I think probably the real seeds of it were planted a little over 10 years ago. When I first came to Chiang Mai, Thailand, I met a wonderful artist, human being, now dear friend, Kitikong Tilokwattanotai, or just Kong, as he's known to those who love him. I met him at SGCI in San Francisco. And he invited me to come to Chiang Mai and visit his studio. He runs Chiang Mai Art on Paper here. And I thought, great. I thought I was going to get a holiday in Thailand. I did not realize that when you get an invite from Kong, he is picking you up at 8 a.m. and driving you 2 hours into the countryside to meet this incredible mezzotint artist who lives off-grid with his wife and children, who makes 3 by 6 foot mezzotints just alone in his, self-built studio, and then driving back into town and then getting lunch and then going to a famous painter studio and then dropping you off at 8 at night and doing that over and over and over again. So I was not having Mai Tais by the pool. I was getting introduced to the incredible contemporary art world of Chiang Mai, and it really changed my life. And I thought, this is an amazing place. This is unlike anywhere I've ever been before. The quality of the work that was being produced, the kindness of the people, the openness and excitement that everybody had for what was going on in this city was really intoxicating. And so a few years later, I met Tim at SGCI Atlanta. And then we got married at SGCI Las Vegas. And then we honeymooned in Chiang Mai.
Yeah. Actually, my connection to Thailand also starts 10 years ago, I'm realizing. Because at SGCI Milwaukee, I met our friend Joy, who was the then product manager at Gamblin Artist Colors in Portland. And I got an internship at Portland, at Gamblin, in the summer of 2014. So yeah, about 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. There was a restaurant in Portland called Pak Pak. And I was told to go to Pak Pak because they're like, oh, it's a northern Thai food. Like, it's going to be different than anything you'd eaten before. And I went, and I had the fish sauce wings and the somtam and the sticky rice. And, you know, I was like, oh, yeah, this is from Chiang Mai. So I was like, oh, I should go to Chiang Mai for the food. And so when we met and, you know, got married and engaged, all the things, Miranda said, oh, I have a friend in Chiang Mai. I was like, yeah, I'm sold. Let's go. So then we honeymooned. Yeah. And it was printmaking and sticky rice from then on out.
Yeah. My love affair with the city became our love affair with the city. And we said, well, wouldn't it be amazing if one day we opened a printmaking residency and publishing studio and little art gallery in this beautiful town where the food is really good and the people are really nice and the cost of living is really easy. And then I don't even know how, 7 years on, life just kind of aligned. You know, we lived in Bangkok for a little while. I got a job offer during the pandemic to run a gallery there for a while. So we started to build connections, build more friendships, build more, as the joke we like to make around the house, our Thai ties, our ties to Thailand. And, you know, we learned some Thai language there. And then the owner of the gallery that I worked for in Bangkok, SAC Gallery, his family has a building in Chiang Mai that they are in the process of wanting to fill with art spaces. And so half of it is actually Kong's painting studio, my old friend who started everything and who introduced me to SAC to get me the job there. And the other bottom half is our printmaking studio. So they came to us and they said, hey, we have this building in Chiang Mai. We would like to fill it with people doing art things, art studios. And you've talked about in the past opening a litho shop. Do you want to do it? And we said, well, of course we do. Yeah.
And we kind of can't stress enough how much all of this has been possible because of Kitikong. We've interviewed him on Hello Print Friends, so if you haven't listened to that episode, you should. But like that first time when we were like, man, wouldn't it be awesome to run a studio here? Kong, right from the get-go, was like, well, you should. You know, it was, this isn't all us. Like, this wouldn't be, if we wanted to do this, but no one cared here, like, it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Like, it's all possible because Kong was like, yo, like, if you guys want to do this, let's do it.
Yeah.
And he's introduced us to people. And he does this really great thing that we probably talked about in his episode where, like, he will let his students borrow a press for a year, and then he gets one of everything they make, right? So, like, he gets a printer's proof because they get one of his printing presses. And, like, right now, the litho press that I use is actually Kong's press. And so I give Kong printer's proofs of all the editions we're making. So I just can't stress that enough that, like, this is all possible because of our friends here. Mm-hmm, and Kong specifically.
Kong and then Ung, who's the person I worked with at SAC Gallery, who really has been so supportive in us starting our business here, you know, supporting through all the insane bureaucracy of getting visas so we can stay here. Yeah, I mean, we owe everything to the generosity of of the people here that we know who's made this possible. As Tim said, there's no way that just two silly, crazy kids in love from the States could just like set up shop here without the support of like the really amazing people that we know. Yeah.
That was the first point I wanted to poke at a little bit, because, it sounds so romantic and everything, but it would be very difficult to do it without some support of some sort from real estate / presses / contact.
Totally. And the other thing, I don't know how much your listeners are interested in the nitty gritty of Thai law, but no one who's not Thai can't even own a business here. So yeah,
the way it works is like a business has to be 51% Thai owned.
At least.
So like we're 49% owners of our company. So our company is technically a Thai
technically Hello Print Studios is Thai.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're lucky that our business partners are very good friends, and it really works out. There's not really anything for us to worry about there. But yeah, you can't just come and set up shop because you want to. Like, you really kind of need to, I don't know, like, you need to try to be a part of the community.
Yeah, and you can't own property. Effectively, you can't own property as a non-Thai person. You can't own land. You can own a condo in a building that's at least 51% Thai owned in the whole condo. So
there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
You can see why and how a country would want to do that. I mean, it makes complete sense in so many ways, and yet you're like, wait, but I want to do this thing.
I know, but I think it's a really kind of natural reaction to have, but it 1000% protects Thai people and the Thai economy, because the way the bot performs on the global market is in the lower quadrant. And so without these safeguards, people from the States, people from Europe, people from other parts of Asia, they could come and buy massive beachfront property for the equivalent of $20,000 and it would be gone. And no Thai people would be able to, well, not no Thai people, but it'd be much more difficult for Thai people to live in the communities that they've lived in for an extremely long time, for the length of being the only country in Southeast Asia that's never been colonized length of time. Like, this is a long history of Thai people being Thai and living in these spaces and living on these lands, and laws like that protect that. And we're all for it. We are honored to be guests in this country and contribute to the happiness and the welfare and the art here in any way we can.
Do you look down the timeline and say, we'll be here for the rest of our lives, or 10 years or 20 years? Like, do you have a plan?
Well, so our plan when we moved to Bangkok was to stay in Thailand for the foreseeable future. And then that changed for some family reasons and such. So we went back to the States for a while, and now we're back. So our plan is to stay here and to like just live here. Like, I don't want to go anywhere else. But anyone who knows us knows that, like, in the first 7 years of being together, we lived in 7 cities on 3 continents. So, we jump around. That said, through some family stuff, we've got some like savings and everything that was another big part of why we were able to do this. And so we've also, whenever we've moved to a place, we've never invested this much in being in that spot. So yeah, for the foreseeable future, we see ourselves here. I don't plan on going. If Miranda leaves, she's going without me. No, that's not true. I would go anywhere. But yeah, no, I kind of like joke that, like, the first 7 years of being together, we traveled around, and Miranda got to like, travel, and I followed, and I was like, can we just stay in one spot for 7 years? Like, can I get the second 7? So we've agreed that at least 7 years. But then again, who am I to tell life that I'm not going to do something it's telling me I've got to do? So, right, like, the plan is to be here, but life happens.
Well, and then the other, personal thing, just between us, Anne, and all of your listeners, is that my mother lives here now with us too. And she's in her 70s, and she has cognitive issues. She has some vascular dementia. And so moving her again anywhere would be really disruptive for her and confusing. And, you know, here we get to just all live as a family where the weather is always nice and there's really, really good healthcare. And there's an absolutely incredible culture of love for older people, even if you're not related to them. So, you know, just seeing the way Thai people interact with her with such love and care, I can't imagine wanting her to live anywhere else, honestly. We came here and visited over Christmas the year before we moved, all of us, you know, so she could see it and she could decide, you know, is this a place you could see yourself, that kind of thing. And, you know, just the way our friends talked to her, like they called her mommy. Like we'd all go out to dinner and they'd reach across the table and they would touch her and they'd be like, "Mommy, have you had enough to eat?" And it just was like, I love my Western friends, but I've never seen one of them, you know, and she lived with us for years, so we spent a lot of time with her. You know, I've never seen one of them reach across the table and like lovingly grab her arm and ask her that question.
We don't even do that.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's such a cultural thing, right? Like, I've met your mom. She's lovely, but I didn't reach across the table either because it's, you know, it's just all what you grew up with, right?
Yeah.
Right. Totally. Totally. So as to mention, we ended up moving back to the States originally for family reasons. And then in a lot of ways, family reasons took us here too, you know, like wanting a really good life for her and really good care for her. And so, you know, I think we have a lot of different ties here now.
The ties.
We have a lot of ties right now.
Exactly. But the whole thing, I mean, when you two met at SGCI, I mean, I know this doesn't happen, but like it feels like you guys must have aligned in all of your lists of what I want to do with my life and the lengths at which I'm willing to go to achieve all of these things, and I'm willing to go all the way around the world to do it, and family matters, and we're going to make it work. Like, it's really bold, and I'm so in awe of the two of you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's hard won, though.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like what doesn't make it to social media, of course, right? Is that you have to really want it, and you have to be willing to learn and grow and make mistakes and forgive and be really uncomfortable and not turn on each other.
Yeah.
When you're both really uncomfortable.
And I mean, we shared this we did a talk together with Taro and some other people at SGCI in Madison, I think, and about like kind of being with like having a partner in the arts and how do you know, deal with it. And then we were there together because but I mean, we shared that like by the end of like our time in Australia, like by the time I like was finishing grad school, like we you know, that was like the first 2 years of Pine Copper Lime at the time, Hello Print Friend. I was finishing grad school, and we actually like weren't sure if we were going to stay together. It was fucking brutal, you know. And then we thankfully had a lot of people in our lives that helped us through that hard time, and like marriage counselors and all the things. But yeah, like Miranda said, like it's all happy and fun on social media, but like it was dark there for a minute, you know. We almost didn't make it through. Yeah. So it's not like, wow, we met in fireworks and then no more pain. We like to like our kind of like catchphrase around the house is be like, we're gonna do this thing, and then there will be no more pain.
Yeah,
and there's always fucking pain afterwards.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you, listener, come to do our residency in Chiang Mai, Thailand, then no more pain.
All right. Yeah. So let's talk about the plan for this. Let's talk about how it's relating to Hello Print Friend as it started, which is still going. And how are you describing it, and how are you managing all of the things?
As people may know, I am the voice of the English side of the Hello Print Friend podcast. And most recently, some documentaries as well that we've done. We did a short on Oaxaca. We're going to be doing a short on printmaking in Puerto Rico. And then I'm married, and I am not a printmaker myself by training. I'm culturally a printmaker, I think, at this point, but I'm not a printmaker by training or by birth. And I married a printmaker, though. And, you know, we always thought that we had really well-suited skill sets.
I still tell people this, the short way to describe our relationship is like, I can make them, she can sell them. You know, that was, you know, when we met, I was a shop tech at a university, and Miranda was the director of Davidson. And so, like, that's what we were doing. So it was like, we both kind of wanted to do this thing, and we just had the opposite sides of the skill coin, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and I asked him after we'd been dating a little while that I was like, why weren't you afraid of me? I was this like big, powerful director lady. You're like a printmaker.
I was 24.
You were 24. He's 8 years younger than me. He was 24. I was 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I aptly looked at Miranda and said, "Too stupid."
I think you were just in love, Tim.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. One can lead to the other, for sure. And so it just seemed like we'd spent, you know, I think 6-7 years with this podcast and growing this community and meeting all these amazing artists. And that kind of alongside our love for Chiang Mai, our love for the people here, our desire to share this amazing place with people and grow its profile on the global stage as an art hub, because I feel like there's no reason why Chiang Mai shouldn't be thought of like Oaxaca is thought of. I mean, it's much smaller than Oaxaca. It's a city of about 100,000 people, but it has over a dozen print shops. And the skill level there that's coming out is mind-blowing.
Oh, it's insane. I'm the worst printmaker.
Oh, Tim!
You come see the print shops.
Yeah,
and then you'll be like, oh, yeah.
Come visit it, yeah. And so all of that kind of came together, and, you know, we just realized that the natural next step of Hello Print Friend, the podcast, the documentaries, the Instagram, the community, it would be to create a Hello Print Friend Studios.
Yeah.
And so we have about 3 shop houses wide, if that means anything to anyone who spent time in Southeast Asia, in a small enclosed studio that actually has the air conditioning, because it's
everyone loves my studio because I have the air conditioning.
It's where all the gossip can happen.
Yeah.
It's this glass, so it's the inside is actually sort of 2 stories tall on the ground floor. There's sort of a balcony, and then 5 shop houses wide, two of which are ours. And so Tim just hangs out in this glass cube where you can like look in and kind of
like a zoo animal.
Tap on. I say he's having enrichment time in his enclosure when he's in there, you know, printing. But there has the litho press. We do stone and plate litho. We have 5 stones, 5.5 stones.
Yeah, I broke one of them.
Oh,
there's a good story. We'll get to that story in a minute.
Okay.
It's actually not as, I mean, it sucks, but it's not as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to the wonderful Ryan O'Malley, who met Tim in Houston.
Yep. Helped me pack them.
And pack them. They came from the Houston Printing Museum that was closing, and he helped pack them, and we put them on a slow boat to Thailand. And they took them about 6 months, I think.
No? But like 3 months probably.
Okay, 3 months, yeah.
wow.
And so we've got a few stones, and we've got plates, and then we have a pretty large, nice exhibition space too. Our first artist in residence was the co-host on our podcast, Reinaldo Gil Zambrano. And he came out and made a beautiful litho with Tim, and we also are lucky enough to be showing his work in the exhibition space right now. So that's really fun because it feels sort of like the whole Hello Print Friend family is there in spirit for our opening months here. And then we also have an etching press as well that's more in the exhibition space. We don't have facilities for etching, but we can obviously use that for dry point, woodcut, monotype, that kind of thing too. And behind the studio is an apartment complex that our artists in residence can stay in, and it's modest but comfortable accommodations. We've been saying, like, imagine like a super nice dorm room. You know, you're going to get a wardrobe and private bathroom and a bed and a little balcony and a little refrigerator, and you'll be cozy. And hopefully you'll just be in the studio the whole time anyway. And it's truly just a stone's throw from the back of the studio. And I think that's what we have. That's what we have. The whole building is 4 stories tall. And on the 3rd floor is where SAC hosts some artists in residence as well, usually painters or sculptors. And so you might run into other interesting artists from around the world working on the other floors. But yeah, mostly the whole downstairs will be our artists in residence. They can draw and print, or like how it worked with Reynaldo and then also Swoon, Caledonia Curry, who was there at the same time, who was our second resident by just like 2 days. She came like 2 days after Reynaldo did. They did it at the same time. You know, what they ended up doing is, you know, working on a plate, working on a stone, handing it over to Tim to slave away in his enclosure, and they got to go to temples or go to the flea market or go release fish for good luck into the river and do some sightseeing too. Yeah.
It just sounds amazing. Like, I feel like the internet has done a lot of things that aren't great, but it's done some really wonderful things, particularly in the art world to me, because as somebody, you know, based in the Eastern United States, like the idea of even engaging with an art community in Thailand is just like, what? I don't even know how to start. But it's, you know, you guys are sort of this poster children for, you're not children, the poster kids for, for expanding boundaries and being open-minded and open-hearted about what it means to be an artist.
Well, I think like maybe like when you originally said like this kind of next step for the podcast, I mean, like when we started it, it was towards the goal of opening a studio. You know, we talked about wanting the studio together on our honeymoon. We didn't start talking about the podcast until we moved to Australia. And, you know, part of that was like Miranda had the foresight and the brilliant idea to be like, hey, like this thing doesn't exist. She liked the podcast. She's like, this doesn't really exist. And we had moved across the world, but it was her way of maintaining her connections with every artist that she worked with at Davidson. And then that just turned into like artists from around the world. And so then it worked out. Like people hear our names all the time because we're just on, you know, like people know about us because we're on social media and the podcast so much. And so that kind of opened up these opportunities, which was pretty awesome. So like, you know, the podcast was to get us to where we are right now. Truly, like that's, you know, like so many good things have happened with it, but we definitely started it to keep those connections and build something while I was in grad school and doing that work. So it's like we couldn't start a shop yet. I was in grad school, but we could do kind of like the footwork for building up to that point.
Yeah, and creating a platform that we could then, you know, use to share the exciting things that we're doing with it, and a kind of a global presence. One of the stories I've been telling that illustrates how effective my scheme was is that when I was in Oaxaca with Reynaldo and our other collaborator, Christian, who does the actual filming part of what we do, we walked into La Buena Impresión. We didn't have an appointment. We just were, all the print shops there are so close together. We just, you know, someone was like, you have to go to this one. So we walk in the front door and there's an artist there waiting for his touche to dry on this big litho stone, and he looks up and he kind of does a double take and he just says, "Hello, print friend? I just messaged you on Instagram." This is really, really wonderfully talented artist, Sebastian, who I'd talked with a few times over the years or shared some of his videos on Instagram, but he had just texted the Hello Print Friend Instagram account. And then here, Reynaldo and I just walking in through the doors of the print shop he's in. And it's just those amazing moments. And I totally agree with you about the internet being like, ooh, it's done some things. But, you know, in what universe would we live in which that would be possible without this incredible way that we connect and stay connected to people who love and are passionate about this corner of the art world that we're just total simps for.
But also, I mean, you were prescient, really. I mean, you started the podcast in 14 or 16?
November of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 18. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
But like recognizing that it could be this tool of establishing your relevancy, really, I think is what it does almost the best. And keeping you in the sort of mind of all of the people who listen. Like it was brilliant.
About the brilliance, I say this every chance I get since we're recorded. I want it said again. It was Miranda's idea. I was like there for it in theory, but then when we started to have to do all the work for it, I hated it. I didn't want to do it. I thought it was awful. And this is the best marriage advice for anyone out there. You were right. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. And that needs to be on record. And I say it every chance I get because it's true. It's true. It's her idea. The podcast, it's all, everything. It's her idea.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was very sweet, Tim. But I mean, let's face it, it's a, pardon my French, everyone, fuck ton of work.
It's a fuck ton of work.
So much work.
Yeah.
And back then, it was
even
much
more work.
because there was no structure for programs that will level things regularly automatically for you, programs that will take out ums for you automatically.
I used to cut out every single by hand
in GarageBand, just tiny.
Yeah.
He was just in this like. It was like Dickens-esque. He's in the factory, just like, with his eye going blind, pulling out these tiny ums.
Yes, it's gotten much simpler, which is wonderful for all of us. But I'm so curious, Miranda, and we've talked about this over the years. Why is it that there's just like 3 of us doing this in print? I don't understand.
Because it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of room here,
I think part of it has to do with the fact that, as we've spoken to, it's a fair amount of work.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think a lot of people have been kind of infected with this idea of scalability, whether or not they even know it by that name. And there's this sense of, well, if I could never get as many views as Joe Rogan, why would I ever do something like this? If I could never make my entire life living off of this and have a Substack with 20,000 people paying me $5 a month to get the bonus content, why would I do that? And I think that puts a little bit of a limited view sometimes on how and why people take things on, because printmaking is niche, and to get the kind of numbers that people do to buy third houses being podcasters.
Do we know?
I don't know if I'm breaking this to you. I don't know if I'm breaking this news to you, Anne, but that's probably not going to be us.
Yeah.
I know if that's what you were going for. And so I think that has something to do with it, is this idea of doing something that you love for people who love what you love in this really niche way. Doesn't necessarily have the same glitz as whatever else you could do out there for that too.
Maybe I'm being optimistic, but I guess like on the other hand, like you said, Anne, like there's plenty of room here. And so like just because we haven't made a killing from it doesn't mean someone couldn't. I don't know, like, right? Who am I to say you can't start a podcast if you want to? It's a ton of work. Maybe you're good at it. Maybe the thing is that like part of it is it's so niche that like that's a thing. But like there's tons of like the one I love is a Draftsman podcast. It's like Proco. And like that guy makes a shit ton of money with selling art stuff, and he's like, talking with comic book illustrators and things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that's probably a bigger audience than printmaking, but like, I mean, so many people told me not to go into art because I wasn't going to make any money, but like I'm living an awesome life. Probably, and like all my friends who are engineers looked at me even when I was like working as a shop tech, like almost on food stamps, and they were like, "Man, I would trade with you in a heartbeat." So, like, just if you want to start a podcast about printmaking, like, Rising Tide Raises All Boats will help you out.
Yeah.
I'll give you advice.
Not poo-pooing it. I'm just sort of, thinking about, like, why people don't do it.
It's a ton of work. It doesn't really pay off. But it does, I mean, it does pay off. but just maybe not the way you might think of when, like you said, you think of like Joe Rogan or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, we've said that there probably wouldn't be Hello Print Friend Studios without Hello Print Friend Podcast.
Nope. No
just because of the way that it kept me relevant.
Yeah.
The way that, as you say, like it positions you as a voice of authority, deserved or not, in the print world. You're just like, I don't know if she says anything good, but she says a lot of stuff. But the talking doesn't stop. That's what I can guarantee you here.
On camera, off camera.
Aw, in your sleep.
No, but in all seriousness, I still get introduced to people in Thailand as, this is Miranda. She has this podcast about printmaking. Yeah. And I think it is something that people can hold on to, that they sort of understand that I'm a proven producer in some way. Mm-hmm. I think that has its significance too. So yeah, it's definitely, if not in a way I can really point to A, then happened, then B, then happened, then C, then happened. I just know in my bones that the podcast got us the studio. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like in big and small ways, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. Plain and simple. I feel like we, in our printmaking podcast niche, that the same problem that exists for printmaking out in the real world is exactly what is happening for us, which is the art form is intimidating. The technical understanding is difficult. It's challenging for people. And I felt like when I was at a museum, like if I could just stand there in the gallery and talk to you about it and express how much, love we all have for it and how passionate they all are. And all, I'm running into the same thing here. I was working with a podcast coach recently, wonderful guy. I love him. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay. And so we, kept going, and he listened to, however many episodes or whatever. And he came back from his honeymoon having bought a print.
Oh, I love that.
He's like, I got to show you something. I'm like, oh my God. It was so exciting. He's like, because I really, you pulled me in, blah, blah, blah. So he's interested. But his best advice to you and me is to expand the thinking about printmaking, in all of the ways that it goes, because there's a bazillion of them. Luther mm-hmm. talks about this all the time, about, we're printing skin for surgeries and stuff like that. But his best idea was, which I haven't done, is to start talking to the skateboard art decal people and to do like a history of that kind of, illustration. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot of work.
So there you go. We just identified a gap for the fourth podcaster.
There you go. Exactly. Like there's, if somebody could get the energy up to dive into these other worlds that are tangentially related to print, because print's everywhere, you could open up.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I've heard various forms of that advice as well. This just like everything is print. And then I'm just like, yeah, but like, that's not the print that I'm interested in.
Yeah. No, which is fine. I think, like I said, like, I mean, that like really speaks to like what Anne was saying. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is there only a couple of us? And maybe you look at it and you think like, oh, well, Miranda and Anne are already doing it. Like, there is no, but, like, what if, if someone's like, what if Dylan wanted to do a podcast on skateboard print and, like Doggone Press could run that, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
whoever, right? Maybe there's some other person who's interested in that. That's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna. Then you talk with designers and printers and wood manufacturers, right? And you could expand it, right? Like we talk to very specifically, like these are artists working in printmakers. We interview them one-on-one. We ask these kind of questions. But yeah, like you said, like there is so much else out there that like if you're interested in it, there's room, and it is all interesting. Yeah, make it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like, Miranda and I didn't know each other before I started my podcast. I was like, oh, I should talk to her. And we've discovered that, as we say, there's plenty of room. Like that we're orbiting and we crisscross every now and again in our Venn diagram, but there's so many, it's just wide open. Come on in, people. The water's fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. I don't know if this will be interesting enough to make it to air, but the other day, a real life Hollywood documentary producer reached out, wanted to have a meeting with Ronaldo and I because they had come across our project, and they were based in Puerto Rico and like to support documentaries. And I put a pitch deck together and, of course, linked to the podcast. And she was really wonderful, really, really generous woman. But one of the first things she said was, yeah, I tried listening to your podcast, didn't understand any of it. But I loved your documentary on Oaxaca. So it was like she'd tried to consume that side of things, which is so funny to me because when I'm talking to a printmaker, I never think, oh, this is so niche what we're saying. It always sounds really accessible to me. But I think we can't see the water that we swim in, right? Like we don't know what other people don't know. And so, yeah, it was just really interesting that I had a similar experience with someone from the outside looking in, also having that response to the media that I was producing being inaccessible. And I was just like, but we're so chill. Like,
Exactly. I mean, I guess we may be in a cool kids club or something, but I mean, as the underdogs of the art world, I always feel like, we sort of are, but aren't really. I don't know. It's so hard, Yeah, because you and I both, all three of us are like, we love this. You will love it too, Oh, it's so hard. But if you start explaining everything that you are talking about to try and make it more understandable for the person who doesn't know much, then you're going to lose all the people who do.
Yeah. And I in that meeting, I said, I still am a firm believer that there are two kinds of people in this world, people who don't understand what printmaking is and people who love it.
Yes.
And I really think that if you can get that light bulb to turn on, it doesn't turn off. But getting it to turn on can be really tricky because I've yet to find the way that is sexy and poppy and kind of actually captures the beauty of what it is that doesn't sound too technical and can be done without intimidating people with the language that you're using as well.
Phil Sanders would say you would just the reveal is the trick. You have to get someone next to a press and that's it.
You have to show them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because and then there's like with what Miranda says, like the two types of people, like some people the light bulb's never going to turn on and that's okay. There's 8 billion of us. We don't all have to like this thing, right?
I want them all to like it.
I don't.
There's a slim majority of Americans that probably don't need to ever.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't have to like it. It's all good.
True.
I mean, what is the thing about it that's just so, yes, it's the art form, but some of it, I think, is the community, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just started a residency because we just want to hang out with chill people until we die.
Yeah. Come hang out. We'll make a print or two and eat sticky rice. Like, yeah. That's, I don't even like printmaking. I'm just here to hang out with people, right?
I don't know that any lithographer really loves printmaking. I feel like,
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
It's abusive.
Yeah.
I don't know why y'all picked the hardest one.
Okay, that's a great segue, and I'm jumping on that. Litho's not hard. I'm saying it. It ain't hard. I was a chemistry undergraduate student, and one of my student jobs was I was a teaching assistant, not quite a tutor, but I would run group classes. When I was in upper level class, I would help with Gen Chem. And I used to tell my first year students the hardest part about chemistry at the undergraduate level is convincing yourself it's not that hard. That was the hardest part. And so that's what I say for litho. The hardest part about litho is convincing yourself it's not that hard. And so one of the things, the way we've kind of structured our residency program, right, for Hello Print Friend Studios, I used to run a shop, very small shop, with my friend Josh Orsburn. He's the current master printer at not Landfall Press, that's where he was in Santa Fe, currently at Flatbed Press in Austin. And Josh and I would do publishing and contract printing, right? So kind of a similar way, like we had to run it a little different for our studio here. And so instead of quote unquote contract printing, we're doing the residency, right? So it's a week at a time and you can book 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, blah, blah, blah. But it's not, the reason I didn't want to just do contract printing is because maybe you don't actually even necessarily want a finished print, right? So if you want a finished print, you can come into the studio and we can do the contract model. You draw, I'll do all the technical stuff. You walk away with a finished edition. You don't have to learn anything about lithography. Maybe you're Michael Barnes and you want to come do a residency. I will be your sponger. You know way more than I do. I'll just help and make sure you have all the things you need. That's another option. Option 3, which we actually had one of our friends, Ronaldo from Indonesia, not Ronaldo Hill, reach out and say, hey, I don't actually know how to do litho and I want to learn. And so in that case, come in and I'll teach you how to do it, either on stone or plate. And so we have decided to run this residency in a way of like, it's not just for, I'm a big shot artist with this cool practice and I want to make a print with you. It's, I'm a printmaker or I'm not a printmaker and I want to learn something. That's another acceptable route for me. So when we have our application, it's a very loose application. And one of the things is, what's your goal, right? So if your goal is to learn, come in, I'll teach you. If your goal is to like make a print, great, like tell me what you want to do. And I can say, a week's not possible, or yeah, no problem. Like, come on in. But like I said, like I'm like the worst printmaker in Chiang Mai, right? I might not be the best.
Tim, we want people to come to our residency.
Dude, I'm gonna, you gotta wait for the punchline here. You gotta wait for the punchline here. Maybe I'm not the best lithographer in the world, but you come for a week and I guarantee, like, I know we can get, like, I've gotten 4 colors and gold leaf done in a week for people. So, like, I might not be the best, but I get shit done, right? So when Ronaldo was here, we did an edition of 20 on 22 by 30 inch paper or 56, 76 centimeter paper, depending on what part of the world you're in. It was 4 colors and gold leaf in a week. When Callie was here, we made 3 separate editions. Granted, they were only about 10 prints each. One of them, though, was a completely variable edition, so 2 layers of litho that was all the same, and then Shinkole with her paper cuts that was all different. So that was 40 prints plus gold leafing. We did that in a week. Kong, we did 200 2-color prints, so that took us maybe like 3 weeks. I had a girl come in for a 1-day workshop. She was like, yo, I like don't know. And I was like, all right, let's start. And we were going to just do 1 color on stone. But she was super chill, drew really quick, was like down to just like have a good time. We only made 4 prints that day, like 4 impressions, but we made a 4-color print in 1 day. Our residency is like open and varied for what you want. And so I think when you're filling out our application, if you do want to come, just like let me know what you want to do. We'll figure it out. But like I'm going back to like where I started on this. Litho's not hard. Just saying it. Litho's not hard. Come do it. Come hang out in Chiang Mai. We'll print lithos and we'll eat something.
Mm-hmm. We'll eat something.
Yeah.
Is there a checkbox on the application that says, "Are you a nice person? Will we like you?"
Yeah. It's the between the lines, like, you know.
Right.
We do. Look, we've run a podcast for 6 years. We're good researchers. We'll find you.
Yeah. Well, that brings up another great question. So people can apply to it, but you can say no, and you can say we won't have enough time to do all that stuff. But you're also seeking out people you want to work with as well.
Yeah, and so that's again, yeah. So I guess sort of speaking of like the technical terms that our podcasts are just rife with, that makes it so inaccessible that we can break down. You know, that's the difference between being a publisher and being a residency. Is a publisher backs the creation financially and logistically of the prints. And then there's many different models of how that shakes down, depending on what the artist and what the publishing body wants. But usually what will happen with us is that we'll end up with some of the edition that we can then have, sell, show, take to maybe the Brooklyn Fine Art Print Fair one year, when we build things up and have a booth representing artists who've come to our residency. versus an artist residency in which if someone wants to come and make an edition, we would just keep the printer's proofs for that. So, they would get their whole edition. They would pay to come, stay, have all access to all the materials, have access to Tim, and they would fund their own experience and then therefore get the whole edition. And that's the distinction there.
Yeah.
So certain artists, we would just invite because we think that for sure their work will be sellable, their work will represent like the best of what Tim can do.
Which isn't much.
Oh, Tim.
The worst photographer in Chiang Mai.
I think it's a good tagline. Yo, you gotta be that thing, right? Like, yeah.
Just go to our Instagram. You'll see he makes great prints, but it's really like much more about the insane level of skill in Chiang Mai than it is about like you not being
it's
anything.
That whole thing of like, what is it? Like, I'd rather be the leader of hell than the servants in heaven, right? Like,
right, no, yeah.
I can't be the best printmaker in the world, so I'm sure as shit gonna be the worst one in Chiang Mai, right? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Which is no bad thing.
Yeah.
Look,
Right.
It's a slogan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hello Print Friend Studios.
The worst printers in Chiang Mai.
You could be on the Chiang Mai tourism board.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like Hello Print Friend Studios. I'd rather be king of the damned than a servant in heaven. Hello Print Friend Studios.
Yo, but you can cut this out if you want or leave it in. I'm fine with either. But like, I'd rather like just for the weather and the food, I'd rather be the worst printmaker in Chiang Mai than the best printmaker in like Dunkirk, where I'm from. Right? Like, Chiang Mai is great. Come hang out.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll crack some jokes.
Did I glean from the Instagram that you are doing tattooing, Tim?
Yeah. I'm tattooing as well. I am.
So we actually have at least one artist who has come and done a residency with us, Eric Fisher.
Oh yeah.
Who has produced a series of prints with us, or that we've published, and got a tattoo from Tim.
Yeah, he liked my stuff. He got a tattoo.
So you can do both while you're here. You can get tattooed and produce prints.
I'd say the only thing I've wanted to do for longer than I've wanted to do printmaking is tattooing. And
what?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, back up, start over.
When I was like a little kid, like, I mean, grade school, I remember Miami Ink came out and I saw it and I was like, I want to do that. But everyone who told me how to get a tattoo apprenticeship was like, yeah, you go in there and you just don't leave until they finally like get sick of you just loitering and hand you a broom and then you're an apprentice, right? But I'm, contrary to this discussion, I'm actually quite shy. And so if someone said like, no, get out of here, kid, I would have been like, yeah, okay, no problem. And I'd leave, right? So there's no way I was getting an apprenticeship. And then I found printmaking in high school and then here we are. But no, actually the first print I ever got paid to make, contract printing, was for Raking Light Editions, who we've also had on Hello Print Friend. And that was with our friend Oni O'Leary, who's an awesome tattooer in Australia. She'll be coming to Chiang Mai this summer to make prints with us. And then all of the Japanese traditional tattoos, they're all based on kuniyoshi woodcuts. So like it's printmaking and tattooing are pretty tied together. And I'm doing both.
And you're doing both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the person he's apprenticing with hates him because he is so naturally talented at tattooing. She's really frustrated with him.
Yeah, it was funny. She was like, fuck you, Tim. Like, you're already a man. You can't be good at this, too. Like, you can't have this, too.
You already have male privilege.
You already get male privilege. You can't just get tattooing, too. Which was fair. But no, it was funny because, like, speaking of printmaking and tattooing, I think part of the reason I picked up what I picked up as quickly as I did was from all of the, like, the way you hold a chisel and draw with that is not too dissimilar from the way you hold a machine. And, all of the transferring and stenciling and copying, but not for reproduction's sake, but just like the way you've got to like move things from matrix to matrix, a lot of it's quite similar. Yeah.
And what about like, like the depth too? Like that's such a big thing with tattooing, and of course like the depth of cutting, the depth of
it's for sure
gouging,
not 1-to-1, but
like
it's for sure not 1-to-1, but the way you carve with a chisel is similar to the way you tattoo with a machine. It's interesting how, like I said, not 1-to-1, but it's weirdly similar.
But you're creating the matrix and printing at the same time. I think there's an episode in there of reaching out into the tattoo world, Miranda, to expand our.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, shit, there's a whole podcast you could do, again, if you wanted to put the work in, of like the crossover between tattooing and printing. 100%. Printing and comics. Printing, tons.
I feel completely unqualified to discuss Eastern printmaking in any way, because there's so much, and I think a complete it would be inappropriate somehow. Like I need a specialist to come on and talk to us about Japanese prints and stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole world. And when I was first looking around for doing a master's degree, I was coming from philosophy, so I didn't really have a big art history background. And I really was looking for a program that I could study. I think I was interested in maybe Meiji era Japanese prints, because I love them so much. Like still to this day, we just bought this amazing, was it Kuniyoshi book? No.
Hokusai.
A Hokusai.
Hokusai's drawings.
Of Hokusai's drawings, a book of Hokusai's, almost his doodles. And you just look at them and you stare at them and you just are kind of like, we could have just stopped making images right then. Like he just kind of nailed it, Like,
they're great.
They're so moving. They're so beautiful. They're so crude and elegant at the same time. Some of them, we had a series of Yoshitoshi's ghosts that came through Davidson. And I just was like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. Like, I don't want to look at anything else, They're so incredible. And I'm the same way, that my admiration of them is just strictly amateur. I've looked for ways to get good information about them. And again, as you spoke to, that world is so deep and so complex. And it's just, it's sort of like, where do you start and where do you get good information too? Because, a lot of it is in
other language,
languages and ancient versions of other languages. Not even like if you spoke or read 21st century Japanese, that you could read what's written in the woodblocks.
I don't know this person personally, but I know of it. Maybe we'll talk about a tattooer that we might be able to get on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
To talk about Japanese printing.
Yeah, that'd be
cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Does Thailand have the same kind of, I mean, I know there's a lot of printmaking that's going on, but does it have the same kind of, I don't know, I feel like Japanese prints, I mean, they're so wide and deep, obviously, but there's a really sort of cohesive story that you see and can tell about them. Does Thailand have the same thing?
Are we thinking sort of historically? Speaking, or so really interestingly, Thailand is a culture without a very long print history. And Kong actually talks about this on his episode of the podcast more in depth and probably better than I will here. But they had a history of temple rubbings, and they had a history of carving into leaves and pressing ink into that to create books.
But they never transferred it. So it's more like a dry point that you don't print. Yeah.
So it really, printmaking really came to Thailand with Western influence. And
Silpakorn,
through Silpakorn University, which is a university in Bangkok that was started by an Italian man. And, there's a very, very recent history of printmaking as we understand it as etching, woodcut, lithography, screen printing, which is kind of fascinating. I can speak to sort of more generally, though, the culture of Thailand historically in terms of art making has been so incredibly focused and dedicated to craft and really, really fine execution of things, of, whether it's an umbrella or a headdress for a dancer or a temple that's covered in mosaic that is 3 stories tall,
or wood carving,
or super detailed wood carving. And so once printmaking is, as we define it as European and European descendants, once it enters the history of Thailand, it's just like a fish in water, because there's so much focus already on precision, on method, on craftsmanship. And so the prints that are done right now in Thailand, the level that they're executed at, even at the BFA level, is kind of mind-blowing. You'll wander into a show at like BACC, the Bangkok Arts and Cultural Center, and you will see these incredibly executed 12-plate lithos that are done by someone who just came out of an undergrad. And
they're all hand-drawn plates, color separations, everything. They look like the photographs. They're insane.
Wow.
And I went to visit CMU, and everyone that I've met here is just super nice and humble. I'm the only one making the joke that I'm the worst printmaker in Thailand, right? I go and visit people who are so skilled at what they do, and they want to see my stuff and they like it, and they're talking, and it's oh, this is great. And we trade ideas and things. No one looks at my stuff and says, that's it. Everyone's super welcoming, right? As far as Miranda's saying, with quality, I went to visit some of the students at CMU, Chiang Mai University, because I'm friends with one of the etching professor there. And I walked in and offered the one girl a job. I was like, yo, do you want to be a printer for me? I think she thought I was joking because she didn't really respond. Plus, language barrier. But I saw this girl's prints. She was a 3rd year. And I was like, man, I know who we're hiring if I need a printer, right? Seriously. So the level of craftsmanship is just amazing. And like I said, I think maybe even better is that everyone's really good at what they do, and everyone's super nice and welcoming. And I go to an art opening and 6 people come up to me and say hi and want to talk and are happy to see us. It's such a good. Again, you come to printmaking for the community. I've never been anywhere like Chiang Mai. I have more friends here than anywhere else in the world. It's awesome.
You haven't even been there a year.
I know, yeah, right? We're back for not even a year. We lived in Bangkok for a year. And then outside of that, maybe 2 months total in tourist travels. And I have so many friends here just because everyone's down to hang out, have a meal, make something, do something, and just be nice and have a good community. Yeah, It's awesome.
Chiang Mai has a pretty big Western European American population. I hate calling them expats because why do they get to be expats?
Immigrants.
They're immigrants.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're immigrants.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's changing. It was always been very popular with tourists. The Thai economy has always been very tourist based. The Thai culture has a long history of being incredible hosts, incredibly generous culturally to visitors. But recently there have been a few new visas introduced to attract remote workers.
Oh.
And I've been coming here for 10 years and there's never been anything close to it. So, we have our visas through our business that we started. But as we mentioned at the top of the hour, that's a complex process that, you can't just sort of drop in and do. So really for the first time, if someone is doing remote work, they can come and live in Thailand for up to 5 years. And so that's really increasing the immigrant population from all over the world. So not just European countries and North America, but people coming from China, people coming from Korea, people coming from Japan, people coming from Australia. And so it's actually a really interesting time. Chiang Mai is an incredibly international city. One of the things I tell people is that you could come here only speaking English. Not that you shouldn't try and learn Thai, but if you come here, for a week and you can't get a handle on much more Thai than hello and thank you, you are going to have a much easier time navigating being here as a tourist than you would in Oaxaca not speaking any Spanish. English is spoken almost everywhere, at least to the degree to get whatever it is done. Get your food order, figure out how to make change for the laundry mat that you're going to do your laundry in, and, learn what something is made out of if you go into a crafting community. And so, yeah, it's a really, really, really international place, and the shared language is English, so we'll be in Hello Print Studios, and you'll have an artist in residence from Korea who's talking to a visitor from Luxembourg, and they're speaking English. That's the shared language. So if you're a native English speaker, you're really fortunate in that you can really get around and talk to most people here, at least to the extent to make pleasantries and get what you need. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like Miranda really said it. If you can say, really, you don't even need to say this, but like if you could say hello, thank you, and then you're just like a generally nice, polite person who can take it kind of easy because you're on vacation or whatever, you're just fine. And then if you're like me and you can eat spicy food, you're really going to be fine because then everybody likes you too because you're like, oh, wow, okay. Yeah. But even if you couldn't say hello and thank you, if you're just polite, people here just take you in. Everyone's super nice, yeah. If you're rude, check that box before you apply to the residency.
One of the stories that, like, dickhead, question mark?
No need to apply.
One of the stories that we tell to illustrate some of this generosity and just sort of the amazingness of Thai people. When we were living in Bangkok, at one point, Tim was moving a small printing press. It was like a tabletop press, but it was up on a stand with wheels, still quite heavy.
All the presses here are made out of steel, so they're like, they're heavy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're all bespoke, basically.
There's a Thai version of Takish, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, like there's a guy Piban Cha who makes all of the presses in Thailand. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, maybe you should tell it.
Yeah, so
you're moving this press. Bangkok is. Let me set up.
You tell it better.
No. So Bangkok is 10 million people. So just imagine like Bangkok is New York City.
New York, right?
We're in like a local borough in New York City, and Tim is in flip-flops in the rain.
Not the rain, but in flip-flops.
In the rain. Okay, he's uphill both ways.
It's snowing.
Okay, you go. Just to set the stage. So think of this compared to New York City.
So Kong lets me borrow one of his presses while I'm there, and it's like a 1 foot by 2 foot. It's small, but it's heavy, and it's top heavy because it's on this stand. And I'm in flip flops because I'm in Thailand, and everyone wears flip flops. And so I get it out of the back of Grab, which is Uber, and the guy drives off because I'm gonna just wheel it down the street to my house because it's like right down the street. It's no big deal, and it's a small one. Like even though it's heavy, I can lift it by myself if I need to. So what I don't realize is that one of the wheels is still locked, so it's not actually rolling. I'm like sliding it, and it's a Thai street, so it's not the most even thing in the world, and it starts to tip over. And I catch it, and they have taxi drivers, but they're on motorbikes. They're the Win motorbike taxis. 2 of the guys go out to each of the sides and stop traffic because there's going to be cars coming. So they stop traffic so that the traffic knows not to keep driving. The other motorbike taxi comes and helps me grab it so I don't drop it on my foot and gets it up. And I'm like, oh, great, thank you. And he helps me get it out of the main street onto like my little alleyway. And I'm thinking like, oh, okay, I'll just take it from here. He doesn't let go. He takes it all the way to my house with me, like all the way down my street, which isn't that far, but far enough, and then helps me get it into the house. And I go to pay him, right? Like I don't have a ton of money on me, but I'm going to give him at least, 100 baht or 200, whatever it is, like I've got in my pocket. And he's like, oh, no, might be lie. It's all good. Like, good job.
What?
And he just goes, right, so like imagine being in Chelsea and you're about to drop a press and there's 3 taxi drivers sitting there. Are they gonna help you and then not take a tip, or is that thing falling on your foot, right? Like, so it's pretty awesome here. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I feel like taxi drivers are just like the archetypal cranky,
Yeah.
character in any major city, but in Bangkok, they're amazing. I mean, so Bangkok's Thai name, well, it's actually
Krung Thep.
is the longest city name in the entire world, and it's actually a song that children have to learn to sing. But the short version of it is Krung Thep, which actually means City of Angels.
Oh.
And so I still feel like that's what Bangkok is.
Nice.
It's a city of angels. Everyone there's so nice.
That's awesome. Well, you guys appear to have landed squarely in the most wonderful place on the planet, and I couldn't be happier for you. Is there any last things you want to tell all the peoples about what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like thank you for the opportunity for us to gush about what we've been up to. And we really hope you can come visit and come and bring the family, have a holiday. We will show you the best time. We will show you a dozen beautiful print shops and waterfalls and ethical elephants and, well, elephants ethically, I should say. All elephants are ethical. But here you can see elephants ethically is a better way of putting that.
Okay. And get a tattoo.
Yes, get a tattoo. Get an ethical tattoo of an elephant. And if people are interested in learning more, we're just at helloprintfriendstudios.com. You can apply for the residency right there. And at some point, we might do a more formal application with an opening and a closing, to kind of try and fill out really autumn 2025 is what we're looking towards. But
before we post that, just hit us up.
But yeah, exactly. Like you're welcome to anytime. We're on Res Artist database as well. And we're kind of just slowly building and hoping that, by this autumn, we'll really have everything streamlined to know how to show everyone a wonderful time. And
full disclosure, if you do come to our residency, you're going to be ruined and you're not going to want to leave. So keep that in mind. You're not going to want to leave once you come here. It's awesome. We're going to show you a good time.
But if you're a digital nomad, you get that new visa.
Right? There's plenty of stories of people like that restaurant in Portland that I told you about, Pok Pok. The guy who opened that restaurant lived in Chiang Mai for 6 years, and his thing was like, I came for 6 weeks and I stayed for 6 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, we basically did the same thing, except we left a couple of times in between. But no, it's great. So come hang out.
That sounds perfect. Yeah, thank you. Well, you guys, it's been wonderful talking to you. I'm so impressed and excited for you. It seems like a really good move for you.
Oh, thank you. Anne. Yeah, we're so excited to share it with you and your listeners. And we really hope people come visit us. As you can tell, we kind of like it here. So we're excited to share it.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anne.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Platemark with Tim and Miranda. I am so excited for them in their new venture. It sounds so brave to me, but also I'm just jealous. It sounds so cool. Thanks to them for being great guests. Thanks to Miranda. And also, of course, I have to thank all of my other folks that support the pod. First of all, Dan Fury of Extension Audio for being my sound guy. Thanks, Dan. And also Uncle Michael Diamond for the use of his original music. And lastly, Skip Barnhart and Lee Turner, who sent me sounds from their studios that make up the soundscape at the top and bottom of each episode. Images are over at platemarkpodcast.com. You guys know this. And also there's that support and donate button just winking at you, saying, come hither, click me. It would help me keep the lights on. And I'd appreciate it. All right. We'll see you next time.